All right, so backward integration in manufacturing is what we're discussing next. Backward integration means local sourcing of raw materials as an import substitution policy. In Nigeria, data shared by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria show that local raw materials utilization in the sector declined year on year by 5.4%. Points in the first half of 2020 by 3.5% in the first half of 2021. Well, little wonder Nigeria's import bill keeps surging, increasing. What should manufacturers be doing? What are they doing at this time? We have a member of that association, even though she's here to speak as a managing director, chief executive officer of FAY Limited, Princess Fundayo Bakari Okowo. Good morning, Princess. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
So how are things? I know we're talking about backward integration, but these days when you talk about inflation, talk about the issue of exchange rates, availability of FX, and how it's affecting manufacturing. Tell us, paint the picture for us. How are things for manufacturers in Nigeria at this time?
Thank you very much. Backward integration is the best thing that happened to Nigeria. But I'm afraid presently everything is stagnant and is going downward every day. I mean, when you really look at it, we need a conducive environment for backward integration to thrive. For example, NEPA, I don't want to repeat all what everybody has always been talking about, but it's a big problem. Power supply, it's a big problem. Secondly, overzealousness of government-appointed agencies. They believe they can do and undo. Corruption and infrastructure too. It's a big problem.
What do you mean by government agencies feeling they can do and undo? There are laid down rules that everyone
There are laid down rules. Are they being followed?
Like in what area?
Let's look at the ports.
Okay.
Corruption at the ports. It's there. And it's not yet been addressed. When you look at also, even as we have signed AFCTA, for example, you cannot believe it. It's cheaper sending goods to Europe than sending goods to Ghana. I mean, there should be, yes, there are some incentives, but when it comes to that corridor, there should be incentives for the shipping companies so that a lot of them will have interest plying that corridor. It's so expensive. And also, when you look
what actually makes it expensive? I mean, it's not news that it's cheaper to send things outside Africa than in between African countries.
It's not cheaper, please.
To send things outside Africa compared to in between African countries.
African countries is not cheaper.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It is cheaper to send things outside Africa than in between African countries.
Yeah, because you don't have much shipping companies plying that route. But if there are incentives and it is attractive, you have a lot of them.
But it's a business. Shouldn't private sector, members of the private sector get on board, get ships and make money out of it?
The incentives are not there. And when you want to go by road, there are a lot of insecurity.
There's also insecurity on water.
Well, if you look at, if we are to compare, the difference is still much more better going by sea, one. Then two, it's even cheaper. Shipment by sea is cheaper. At least you are able to carry volumes. And all these agencies, you won't find them on the road.
On the water.
On the water. But on road, you will find them, which they will always stop you.
So you're saying that one of the reasons why it's more expensive for us to practice. I mean, let's stay on AFCFTA,
Yes.
which is supposed to be a pride. Ghana has started.
Yes, they've started.
Ghana and I think some other 17 countries have started. So what are they doing that we're missing? You talked about a lot of regulatory agents or agencies on the road, increasing costs. And then the lack of shipping companies on water because of no incentives. Now, when you talk about incentive to get people to, get on the water, what kind of incentives are you looking at?
Tax. There are so many. I'm not an expert when it comes to shipping because I don't want to talk authoritatively on their business. But I believe that if it is attractive, for example, my company personally, we have tried to export outside Nigeria by road, even with our correct papers. But I nearly had hypertension because they kept on calling me this roadblock, that roadblock. Can't it be reduced? Yes, there is a desk when you go to the border, but are they effective? Can't everybody do their work properly? Because this thing, it's becoming a canker worm. Now, there's no dollar in the country. Backward backward integration is the answer. Why can't we help? I mean, we need to put our house in order to make sure it works.
So when you talk about backward integration, you did mention some hurdles, the issue of insecurity, infrastructure. But I know that when, for instance, the NIDCOM boss spoke some time ago, she talked about how people who are abroad are looking inwards and seeing opportunities. So it looks like there are still opportunities in spite of these challenges. So what can we do to really boost this backward integration in spite of the challenges that we do have?
We need to have the political will to hire and fire. We need to have the political will. If we are saying that, why are we having a shortage of inflow of dollar into the country? It's because of our somersaulting policies when it comes to forex. And nobody will want to invest in any economy that is not stable.
You don't think that the election coming up is also a factor?
I don't think so. Every country, yes, election will always come and go. But don't we have this problem even before election? The problem has always been there. We need to have the political will to deal with the situation. That is the only way, because we've all seen that the only thing that can help us is backward integration. And by this backward integration, we are industrializing Nigeria. And if Nigeria is being industrialized, dollar will come in.
But are manufacturers ready to use local raw materials?
Why not?
I've met someone who pops corn and imports her corn. She sells popcorn and she imports the raw material, which is corn.
That might be correct. Most manufacturers, 90% of what they use as raw materials now are imported. That is where technology comes in. Skilled technologists, we need them. There's a lot of, I'm sorry to say, there's a lot of encouragement when it comes to well, everybody has problem in their sector, but we need to let ourselves know that technology is very, very important everywhere. If the manufacturer you are talking about, if it's importing corn, it's because the farm that he might have get his corn from, they don't have the technology to meet up, the technical expertise to meet up and produce the type of quality that is needed to produce that corn. I don't want to jump gun, but when you look at my own sector, for example, because I read one of your questionnaire, you said one of my interviews that I said
paper industry should equate oil revenue generation.
Yes, I make bold to say it. Why I'm saying this is that I will relate it to technology. In paper, we need a paper research institute. We need functional paper mills. If you look at the price of paper now, is about $1,300 per ton. If you look at pulp, it's about $1,000 per ton. It will be a beautiful idea if Nigeria is exporting that paper. And we have our raw materials here. I will tell you. We can use KNAF to produce paper. Yes, years back, you use the likes of Melina, eucalyptus, which will take gestation period of about 12 years. But now, nobody is ready, no investor is ready to invest for 12 years to get return on his or her investment. So, but with the KNAF, it takes 6 months gestation period. We can use bamboo to produce paper. We have it here. We can use our ewedu, jute, to produce paper. We have all our raw materials here to do it. So if we export, you have the printers, you have the publishers, you have the corrugators, you have all sectors. If you look at Soposet in Portugal, you can Google it. It's a paper mill in Portugal. They are very, very big all over the world. They are the highest contributor to their GDP in Portugal. So, I'm not wrong if I say paper can substitute oil.
That's a big one. I'm not sure today is the day to have that conversation comparing paper and oil industry. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with you, but Princess, we have to thank you so much for coming this morning. Princess Funla Bakari Okawo, the Chief Executive Officer of FAY Limited. But it would be nice actually to see more backward integration, especially like in your industry where, as you mentioned, we have everything raw material here. And if we're talking about boosting FX supply in the country, I mean, what better way to do it than that? Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts this morning.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's take a break now. And we come back from that break. The 28th Nigeria Economic Summit is in October, but we'll talk about what to expect because guess what? They are looking at the political economy. Find out more after the break. This is Business Morning on Channels Television.